Hi everyone, welcome back to Giovanna Designs. It is Colourarte Day. I'm so excited to finally be able to present this video to you. I have been planning it since day one, since before even that I had my channel. When I just had purchased a big set of Colourarte primary elements and I was so excited about it. And then started my channel and started talking with Leslie Onstad, and she sent me a big old box of goodies, which was super exciting and a lot of fun to play with. So I really wanted to get a little bit of experience with the different products first before I brought them to you and explained what I know about them. I knew, intellectually about them. I knew I had learned about them, but I hadn't actually worked with them myself yet. Some of them, some of the sparkles and the interferences, I didn't have all of them under my belt. So I just wanted to make sure that I did that before I brought them over to you. So what we are going to do today is play around with some color. I'm going to show you the interference colors, the sparkle colors, what the difference is between the two of them, and why you want them both, to be honest with you. I'm going to be showing you the Big Bright Blooms set, which is a 12-piece set of the primary elements, and it's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. A lot of people really love these for the blooms. I think that's why Leslie probably named it that. It's a lot of really vibrant, beautiful colors that people are using for the bloom recipe quite a bit. And then the Abalone Shell, the Golden Diamond, and we're going to discuss the Vivid PolyPour and the Enamel and why you want to use one or the other or both in what you're doing. I get a lot of these questions of people saying, what do I mix this stuff with? Why would I mix it with one versus the other? And how does it all work? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to clear up a massive misconception, in my opinion, that primary elements are just a paint additive. They are not a paint additive. You do not have to just take your regular colors and add some primary elements in for sparkle. That's not what they're intended for. They are their own entity. You can make your own paint with this. This isn't just something to add a little something to your paint to make it better. You can do that. There are ways to do that. There are the right ways to do that and the wrong ways to do that, to be honest. But that's not what they're intended for. They are incredibly sparkly. They have interference in them. The brilliance in them is like, in my opinion, is like very few other paints out there. And so, you don't want to take those and then mix them in with your regular paints on a regular basis because you're taking away then their life, their beauty, their essence, if you want to call it that. That's not what they're intended for. So I think that that's a huge misconception out there in the paint pouring community. I think that new artists are really just starting to play with this stuff and they see it, and I'm getting so many questions about why would I mix this with, why does it come with these mediums if I can just mix it with my paint? Like, I don't understand. And then they get the problems when they do that from it, and I'll explain that in a minute. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox on that. Okay, so let me explain what they are right for. So they come with two mediums in the sets, and they are the Vivid Enamel and the Vivid PolyPour. Now, what's the difference? Why do you want one versus the other? The enamel is simply a paint base. It's a tintable paint base that you then take your primary elements, you add to it, and boom, you've got a paint. You can then also add the other things. You can make an interference simply with it. You can make the sparkle. You can add the sparkle to the primary elements. You can mix 18 different colors together if you feel like it. But this is a pure paint then that you can brush paint onto anything, onto a canvas or anything else that you like. It is very viscous, it's thick, and it's used for thicker methods of painting. Let's put it that way. When you really want a thick paint, it's the equivalent then in essence of having a tube paint, but it's just more beautiful. The PolyPour is basically the enamel plus a pouring medium. So if you're going to, so it's lighter, it's less viscous, it's a little looser, it's a little creamier, and a lot of people use this straight for the bloom. It's perfect consistency for the bloom. It's perfect consistency for a lot of different pouring methods. I happen to be a Dutch pour girl, and so I thin everything out no matter what it is. But you can then, in a Dutch pour, you can take, if you just get a set and you get your enamel, you can take your enamel, throw a little pouring medium in there just for insurance, for crazing, cracking, whatever you like, to make it smoother, all those good things that pouring medium does, and then thin it out with water, and you've got your Dutch pour paint. You can take the PolyPour, thin it out with water, and you've got your Dutch pour paint. You don't have to worry about, oh, it just came with one versus the other, and I don't think that I have the right pouring medium for what I need. You can make it work. There's a lot of different ways to do that with both of these. So that's those. And do yourself a favor, get the big guys, because these things go by quick. These little guys last forever, but when you want to paint and you get going on this and you get making paint, you're going to make every color you have, and then you're going to say, oh, I need a refill. So grab some of that. It's good stuff. You can also mix this with a lot of other pouring mediums if you like. There are different effects that happen with that. Experiment. Have some fun with it. I think that Molly did that. Yeah, Molly did a video on Molly's Artistry. Sorry. Molly did a video, and I'll link it at the top, she did 4 different samples, 4 different testers of different pouring mediums with the primary elements. And she played around with that, and you can see much different results that you get from the different pouring mediums. But again, it all depends on your consistency and what you're using it for and what you'd like and what you don't like about different things. So experimentation is part of the fun of it, right? Okay, so the interferences. What's the difference between the interference and the sparkle? Pretty simple. Sparkle, sparklier. An interference color, and I'm going to show you all of this. I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm going to actually show you on a tile and on a black piece of paper so you can see these guys, because these guys really show up on black. So what the interference does is it interferes with the light reflection onto your paint or your surface. And your eye then picks up the interference color before it picks up whatever's underneath it. And that's exactly what interference does. It bounces back, the color bounces back light towards your eye. The sparkle, it does the same exact thing. It's interference, but it's ground, the interference is ground a little finer than the sparkle, and so the sparkle just stands out a little bit more, and it's much more glitzy. So that's a lot of fun. Abalone Shell. Abalone Shell is a new one. It's so pretty. So pretty. To me, this is very much a Aurora Borealis kind of effect to it. It's almost a rainbow interference. I guess that's the best way to kind of describe it in my mind. It really gives you sort of that Northern Lights effects, and you add this to the other colors that you have, and then you get that interference shifting when you put it in the paint, and it's a really cool. You can use this alone, you can use this as an additive to your other primary elements. Golden Diamond is another one that I'm new to. This is just the glissiest gold you'll ever find. It's really, I mean, this is jumping out at you gold. It's really, really cool. Especially if you want to use it on not just painting in general, but I find that this is, a lot of people use these for ornaments or crafts. You know, these are really great for those. So keep that in mind about the Golden Diamond. Okay, I'm going to take the camera down now and bring you in and show you all of these individually so you can see what they're all about and find what you like with them. Don't forget, I do have a 20% off of the entire Colourarte website with code Giovanna620, and that's Giavanna 620. So write that down, because that will take the Bright Bloom set or any of these 12-piece sets down from 72 to 56, 58, something like that. So it's a good deal. And then again, if you need to refill anything, you can use, it's not just for the primary elements. There's also a complete line of resin art pigments, which are the same thing, but for resin. So you can use it for anything on the Colourarte website. Okay, I'll be right back. One of these days I'm going to get a wireless mic so I don't keep having audio issues. Urgh. So I sped this part up just to save you a little bit of time watching me just brush stroke. I know I was talking a lot while I was doing it, but in a voiceover it's kind of pointless. So that is the interference red, and then this is the interference red sparkle. So if you see, there is a difference in the color. There's really not. It's my camera, but what I wanted to show you by bringing it close up to the camera was how smooth the interference is versus the sparkle version of it. It looks like a totally different color, actually. The camera's just picking up a different color. It's not. That is the violet. This is the gold. I sped it up a lot. And that's the gold sparkle, which is really, really glittery. I mean, they all are really glittery, but the gold especially. This one's the blue, interference blue, and then the blue sparkle. And again, this is just with water. I put it on a black piece of paper just so that it could really jump out at you and you would really be able to see it well. And then I skipped over the green on the bottom. I didn't skip over it, but you can't see it, so I skipped over it in editing. This is the Abalone Shell. Do you see that sparkle? It is incredible. As I was explaining before, it really has almost every color in it as a sparkle color. And it's all combined in a white base, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And it doesn't actually look white on the canvas as you're painting it. It just, right now, it looks white up against the black background. But once your painting dries, all you're going to see is that sparkle and interference. And I brought this up to the camera. Look at that. Can you see the rainbow in that? You see all those different colors? Tried to get it under the light as best as I could. There you go. You see that? Isn't that really pretty? It's so unique. That's what I really love about the primary elements in general, is just they're just so unique. And this is the golden diamond. It's a little bit deeper of a gold than the interference gold and the gold sparkle. It's sort of mixed between the two as far as the smooth and sparkly aspect of it. And it's really glittery, just like the Abalone Shell. But, so it's got a lot of that silver glitter in there, but it's a gold background. So it's just, again, really unique, really, really pretty. But you see how that's a much deeper yellow gold than the interference or the sparkle gold? It's just a really beautiful gold. Now that I'm holding the paper up to the camera, you can see that green on the bottom, the green interference and the green sparkle down on the bottom. When I put the paper down, you'll also see it. When I was recording, I didn't know that I was out of frame. So that's the green. And what I'm going to do up next is, after I put this down, is to show you how I mix my primary elements. So what I'm doing here is explaining how I actually mix my primary elements. And please, Leslie, don't kill me for this. Because I do Dutch pours, generally speaking, and the majority of what I do, I know that I'm going to thin these out with water anyway. So what I like to do is to take a drop of water, and literally like 3 drops of water, and put it in the cup to dissolve the grains. Now, if you're not doing Dutch pour and you're not thinning out your colors with water, then you just mix the pigments directly into the Vivid PolyPour or the Vivid Enamel. If you are, then you can dissolve them in the water first, just as a little cheat, so that it makes it a little bit easier for you. And then
I'm going to take that, and what I do every time I mix up a new color is take the bottle,
the wine and roses.
Take the container, I should say, and put just a drop of the paint right on top and let that dry like that. Because, and you'll see this as we go through it, sometimes there is a tendency for the color to look just ever so slightly different. I'm just going to put that there so that you can see them all together. Ever so slightly different in reality than they are in the container. So Mystic Blue is the perfect example of this. If you can see from the container, that is a true blue. That is a really electric, true blue. And yet, in reality, once you mix it up, it's not. It's more of a turquoisey blue. And so you want to make sure that when you're going to grab this color, that what you really want is the turquoisey blue. Because if you grab this with the intention of having more of a sapphire blue to you, to your painting, you're going to be disappointed. So you don't want that. So every time you mix up a new color, just pop a little drop on top, and then you'll know what you're grabbing every time. All right, so let's move on to, this one is, sorry, I gotta look on the bottoms of everyone, sky blue. I also wanted to mention that, you know, each color is not identical to the other as far as consistency is concerned within the container. You're going to get some that are, for lack of a better word, chunkier than others. And that all has to do with the mica and the pigments and the combination of how that works and how and the manufacturing process. So don't be afraid if you open it up and you have a real chunky one. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with a real fine one. Just blend the little chunkier ones even more if you can see. I don't know if you can see those. Wait, I'm going to bring it over here. Those little guys right there. You see that little like nugget? Yeah, nothing wrong with that. You just have to blend it a little bit more. It works just fine. Okay, that is your sky blue. This one is Passion. So the reason why, I wanted to go into the reason why I talked about not putting the primary elements, God, this is a gorgeous color, not putting the primary elements into your paints directly, your mixed paints directly. And that is because a lot of people out there are using the combination of Floetrol and water as their pouring medium. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to use, that's fine. The problem is that primary elements, because they are, the pure mica and pigments, and they don't have any binders in them inherently, you have to add a binder to them. That's the Vivid PolyPour or the Vivid Enamel. You need more binder to make them stick to your canvas, to make your painting great, than Floetrol offers. Floetrol is not a binder. Floetrol is a paint additive used to stretch the paint and for house painters. And a lot of people use it and it works just fine. I use it, it works just fine. But when I'm going to use my primary elements, what I want to do is take, oh sorry, that one was ginger flower. I'm just going to keep going while I'm showing you these, or you're going to get stuck on bored head for your mind. So what I do is I take my primary elements, and this next one is boysenberry. I take my primary elements and, ooh, that it's picking up a really big green. This is going to be a giant blob of color here. I take my primary elements and I mix them as if I was not using any regular paints. I mix them with my Vivid Enamel or my Vivid PolyPour. And then I take my tube paints or my mixed paint already with the Floetrol and water in it, depending on what I want to do. And I'm just going to blend this out because this is really way too much paint. So I'm taking some of this off of here. And then I use it that way. And that will work just fine because what you're doing is, in essence, you're taking the right amount of binder for the primary elements and you're mixing it in with the regular paints. So, for example, a better way to explain this. Let me think. Okay, so when people say don't put more than 30% water in your paint when you're watering it down for a Dutch pour or for whenever you're trying to thin it out. Well, this is the same concept, right? If you're going to take the primary elements and put them into your paint mixture that is already, sorry, I'm going to skip back in. This is Sapphire and Ice. Your paint mixture is already watered down technically. The binder in your paint mixture is watered down with the Floetrol and the water. Then you take your primary elements, which has no binder in it, and you add that to it. You're basically watering it down even more. You don't want to do that because you're not going to get what you want out of it. So sometimes what will happen then is you'll get this crazy haze around the outside of your pour of your colors, and you go, what the heck is that? Why do I have this hazy effect going on? And that's why. It's because there's not enough binder in your mixture for what you need. This is Peacock Feather. This one's beautiful. I used this the other day. Absolutely beautiful. And see, now I expected this one. This is a perfect example as to why you put that pink drop on top. When I first grabbed this and started to mix it, I expected it to be much more of a true teal, much more like the teal zircon. And it's got a deep emerald element to it as well. It is a teal. It is true peacock color, but it's got that emerald effect to that, the emerald side to it. Okay, so now, and this is what I wanted to show you too. This is Poppy Red. And you see how fine this one is? Completely different than the other chunky ones. All right, this is a good example of what I was talking about before about the chunkiness of the pigments. So the Poppy Red is a much finer grain. If you can see that, it's much ground, much finer, and there's not much bulk to it. the Sapphire on Ice much heavier. You see that? Now this may lead you to believe when you first receive them, oh wait a minute, they didn't give me enough of this. All right, look at what the difference is. This one looks like it's full to the top. This one's only half full. Why did I get a half of a container? You didn't get a half of a container. That is the exact same amount of weight of pigment. It's just that the volume is bigger because the actual grains are chunkier. There's a little bit of moisture put in them already before they leave the factory. And so that's why you're getting those chunks in it. And that's why it looks like there's more when there actually isn't. It's the same amount. All right, here's your poppy red. I've been doing something really dumb. I've been opening all of these over the tile, and I'm getting all these little speckles all over the tile. These will stain. They will stain your fingers. They will stain your clothing. They will stain anything they touch because they are pure pigments. So be very careful with what you touch and wear gloves. I don't ever wear gloves, but you can wear gloves. That'll help you. All right, this is Sunflower. This is such a pretty one to me. I have used this as a gold. You know, if I want a really, really yellow gold, Sunflower is really beautiful, bright, bright yellow with a lot of sparkle to it. It's really pretty. Some of the others don't have as much of the interference and the sparkle in them, and some do. All right, this one is Key Lime. This is another one that's super fine. Really, really fine. And this is a true Key Lime. So, you know, this looks almost aqua in the container. It's really a very yellowy lime green. It is exactly what it says it is. It is Key Lime. See that? Isn't that one pretty? I love that. Okay, here we go with Coral Berry. Too much water on me. This one's really, really pretty. It's very soft pink with a touch of that orange in there. The coral is just so nice and unique because you don't see a lot of true corals in painting. And that one's just a really pretty peachy coral. Finally, we have Persimmon. All right, let me add some water to that. And this is more of a red gold mixture. It's very unique. And there we have it. That is the Bright Bloom set. I hope that I have given you a lot of information. I'm going to try to edit this down to as short as possible of a video. But please feel free to ask me any questions that you like. I'm always available through the comments or through giovannadesigns@gmail.com. All of my work is available for sale. Check out my Instagram at Giovanna Designs. And again, my discount code for Colourarte is Giovanna620. This is your close-up so you can really see the colors. That is that Key Lime. Isn't that pretty? I'm trying to get the light directly on it. The Coral Berry. I'm not going to remember all the names. But these are the ones I did last, so I can remember that one. Isn't that gorgeous? That's a Persimmon. Sunflower. Red Poppy? Yes. Oh, come on, focus. There you go, Red Poppy. Peacock Feather. That may be my favorite. You know I love my teals. You know I do. That might be Sapphire and Ice, I think. I think that's probably Sapphire and Ice. This one, Boysenberry. Oh, I may get them all right. Oh, that would be fun. This one, again, I put way too much down, but you can really see. You can see the color in there. It's really pretty. That is Passion, maybe? Or Ginger Flower. One of these is Passion, one of these is Ginger Flower. I think that's Passion. Yeah, that's Passion, and this one is Ginger Flower. So you see how some of them are super reflective and super glitzy, and then some of them are just richer and have that in there, but not as much. So there's a lot of variety. This one is sky blue. And then this is the wine and roses that I mixed up, that I want to actually spread that out for you since I did it with the others. Okay, so what I want to do since I did this with all the other colors is to really be able to show you, I'm sorry, I can't see what I'm doing while I'm doing this, to see that color really sparkle and shine properly. Isn't that gorgeous? It's a really rich Bordeaux burgundy wine. It's beautiful. Love that. Okay. And then what I wanted to also show you is the reason why you need that extra binder. So now these up here are fairly close to being dry. What's going to happen now, if I take my finger and I rub them across there, you see that? How it just flakes right off? It's gone, right? Now why is that? Because all I did was use water for this. And if it was completely dry, the whole thing would just flick right off. All I did was use water when I put these down. There's no binder there. And so they're not going to stick to the tile without a binder. And this is what happens when you use mixes without enough binder in them. You can have that happen in your painting. There is a risk of that happening in your painting where the pigments will just come off. The other risk, as I said, was if you have the hazing. That happens also, because what happens there is that the pigments are spreading out. I just wanted to show you this again now that this is all dry, but as I'm talking. But yeah, the hazing happens because the pigments are searching for a binder. So they're spreading into the white paint from where they were, looking out for something to grab a hold of. So in that case, you won't get the flaking off of your canvas, but what you'll get is that weird haze around the edges of your colors. And so you really don't want that, unless that's the effect you're going for, of course, but generally speaking, that's not a real desired effect. So any questions at all, please feel free to contact me. I'm always available to all of you. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you all. Have a great day.